You should be able to see a little thing that says live.
It popped up, said live.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mexico Relocation Guide live stream. Today we have it looks like I got interrupted from Facebook. I'm sorry if you were watching on Facebook. But today we are interviewing a couple who lives in Huatulco, Oaxaca, and they're going to share some of their perspective on what it's like to be an expat in Huatulco, what it was like for them to move to Mexico, and in general, what it's like to live in Mexico. So before we get started, I'm going to give you guys a chance to join us, and I'll ask you guys in a few seconds here where you're watching from. What did you guys, Sue and Paul, what did you guys do for Dia de la Independencia, for Independence Day?
Nothing special this year. Because of COVID, they didn't have a lot of things going on, so we stayed home.
Yeah. Was there a lot of fireworks and stuff?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No?
No.
No.
That's usually the funnest thing.
Yeah, usually they have all that, but with COVID, they've just got everything down to minimum.
I see. Yeah. Did they do the grito at all?
I don't know. Like I said, we stayed home this year, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know throughout the country, like, they canceled so many things already.
Yeah.
Like they've already canceled Dia de los Muertos in Oaxaca, right?
Yeah, I think that's canceled too. Nothing's planned that we know about.
Yeah. Okay, well, if you guys are just joining us now, my name is Mariana. You are watching Mexico Relocation Guide, and today I'm interviewing Sue and Paul, who live in Huatulco, Oaxaca. They have so much to share with you about their life there, what it was like for them to move to Mexico, and just some tips on making your transition smoother into Mexico. If this is your first time watching one of these live interviews, the purpose of these interviews is to give you guys some insight into what living and retiring in Mexico is really like. And you get to ask your questions live. Like, you actually get to ask your questions to whoever I'm interviewing. If this is your first time watching, I also have a free resource that gives you a lot of information about living in Mexico. It'll help you determine if Mexico is right for you, if you're curious about it or you've heard about it. It has a lot of information, everything from how to qualify for a residency visa, best places to live, how to get around, how to bring pets, healthcare. It has like 50 different topics. I'm going to put it in the comments for you guys to download. But before I get too far into it, why don't you tell me where you're watching from? If you're on your phone and you're watching from YouTube, there's a button that says live chat. Go ahead and type in where you are watching us from. While I post this free resource in the comments. Where are you watching us from? Oops, that's not what I want to show. I'm just going to post on here what we are talking about today. All right, well, looks like I have a few shy people, so why don't we just get started? Paul and Sue, how are you guys doing today?
We're good.
Living a dream.
Yeah, why don't you tell people who are watching that may not know you guys from previous videos where you guys live?
Where we live now? We live in Huatulco, which is probably the southernmost resort area in Mexico. If you left Dallas and went straight south, and when you hit the ocean, that's kind of where we are.
Is that where you guys moved from?
From the Dallas area, yeah.
In the Dallas area.
How long have y'all been living in Mexico now?
A little over a year, about 13, almost 14 months.
Okay, right on. Now, what other areas, because people don't know your backstory, so why don't you tell them why you ended up deciding Huatulco was the place for you guys?
Well, we had originally planned on moving to Panama because I used to live in Panama when I was in the military. And so we had everything set up to move there, and COVID hit. 5 days after we retired, COVID hit, and they locked down Panama. You couldn't go there at all. And so through some of these, like we're doing right now, some of these videos, we learned about Huatulco. We're sitting around the house doing nothing in Texas, and we got on a plane, and we were able to fly right straight into Huatulco. We spent 10 days here on vacation, decided this is where we wanted to be. Went home, sold everything, and moved to Huatulco. And I've been here ever since.
We found that all the advantages of Panama were available here. The prices are similar. There's an expat community. However, the food's better here, I think, than Panama. And I think the people are just happier and friendlier than Panama.
Would you mind elaborating on that? Like, what are some key differences that you see between Panama and Mexico?
I think just with the history of Americans in Panama, there's a little bit of, I mean, not animosity, but I didn't feel the warmth that we feel here. I mean, people have just, we have friends that are Mexican. People speak to you on the street. It's just a more relaxed, laid back place, I think.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Paul? What do you notice?
That's pretty much the same thing. I noticed that it's kind of like going back and the TV shows you would watch of the cowboys, and that everybody talked to everybody. You walk down the streets of Huatulco, everybody speaks to you. It's not like you hide your face or something because you're afraid somebody's going to say something to you. I mean, everybody talks to everybody. Everybody's friendly. The cost of stuff here is just phenomenal. I mean, I give you a really good. We went to breakfast this morning. There were 3 adults, Sue and I, and one of our neighbors, and we had eggs, we had bacon, we had omelets, we had juices. 350 pesos. This is about $16 for 3 people. It's for a nice breakfast. So that's. I tell people my friends at home, they say, well, what about when you do this or you do that? And I say, listen, I can go to town and I can buy a beer for 90 cents. I could buy beer cheaper than I can water.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the things that we see a lot.
We went back to the U.S. in June to visit family, and going out to eat was almost shocking how much more expensive it was than here. It is so, we can eat out every day. It's so cheap. And it's good.
Oaxaca's known for their culinary expertise. I mean, they have so many different types of food.
There are, and there's a lot of nationalities here. There's people here from Germany. They have restaurants, or people from Italy that have restaurants.
There's a great Thai food place.
Thai food place. And they even have lots of cooking schools here to teach you how to cook the Oaxaca styles. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So do you guys see yourself living in Oaxaca or in Huatulco permanently?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here permanent.
People ask us when we're going to leave, and we say when we die.
This is it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do your family members back home think about that?
A lot of them think we're nuts. My kids love it because they can come here for a free vacation. So, it's mixed. Some people think we're crazy. Some people love it. They love that we had a friend said to me, thanks for letting us see what we could do, if we were brave enough to do. So,
I wanted to shout out Trish for watching us from Virginia Beach. Hi, Trish. Thank you for watching. So tell us about the culture in Huatulco. Like, what's a typical day for you guys like?
Well, a lot of times we go to a beach. We hang out at the beach. We have our lunch there. We have drinks. Our friends, our other gringo friends or Hispanic friends all come and hang out with us, and we spend a day at the beach. Or tomorrow I might give a couple people a phone call and say, hey, I'm going to go to another beach. It's an hour's drive from here. I can take 3 people. Who wants to go? And we get in the truck and we'll drive to another beach. So we spend a lot of time on the beach. We also like to go up into the mountains and enjoy the people that make the coffee. There's lots of, there's a place called Pluma that's very close to here. And the temperature difference, if we left our house here in Huatulco and it's 32 degrees centigrades, we get to Pluma, and it would be 26 degrees centigrades because you're way up in the mountains. You're 5,000 feet up. And again, you just can't ask for friendlier people. You walk into a town you've never been to before. I mean, a police officer walks up to me and tells me where I can park, and he says, I'll guard your truck for you, you know, as if he needed to. The crime here is very, very, very low here. So don't need anybody to guard anything. So, but that's what we do. We just get in a truck and go. Or
There's also the ladies. There's a group of ladies here that we've been doing water aerobics twice a week.
Okay.
There's another pretty large group that do pickleball several days a week. There's all kinds of things to do. I mean, we stay busy, busier sometimes than I wish we were. We're supposed to be retired.
Yeah, but you're not just sitting on your couch retired. You're like enjoying your life retired.
Yeah.
Right. And there's even like we have a friend that have a library here in town, and she's always looking for people to help work in the library. You know, and they have an English side of the library and a Spanish side of the library. And I don't know if you hear the music, but if we have a truck goes by and he's selling water, so he's playing music, so we know it's time to go out and buy a bottle of water. So anyway, a lot of stuff that comes to us. We don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's one thing that I love, right? Like if you wanted to, you don't even have to really leave your house and get everything delivered. I mean, the guy with bread comes by, the guy with tacos, the guy with water.
Yep.
Even the doctor will come to your house.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. What do you guys do about healthcare? I know that's the number one question people have.
We still have our
insurance.
We're both on Medicare, so we have that from the States. And when we were back in June, you know, we went and had physicals and kind of did that sort of thing because it's paid for, you know, through Medicare. Here, we haven't bought any insurance. We probably should buy some major medical kind of thing. But just for an example, I got sick back in January, and a doctor came to the house and gave me some medicine, gave me a shot, and it was $30. Paul
house?
Yeah.
Yeah, came right to our house.
Paul got sick several months ago, and I took him to a place that had a hospital, and he had kidney stones, and they put him in a room. They gave him IVs. They gave him pain meds, stayed a couple of hours. They did a urinalysis and gave him more meds, and all of that was $80.
Wow.
So
that's cheaper than buying insurance. So
yeah. A lot of people bypass insurance for that same reason. They can pay out of pocket, and it'll be less expensive than paying the premium every month. It's for, you know, major medical illnesses, like if you get cancer down the road or.
Right. And we figure if we have something major, you know, we'd have to get on a plane and go back to the States. So.
Yeah.
And this is also a small town. And so we have hospitals, but if you had anything really major, you'd probably want to go back to the States. A friend of ours had to have a hysterectomy recently, and she went to Salina Cruz for that. She felt like the doctors there were more equipped to take care of her situation because they have a bigger.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little more, because a lot of people may not realize that some cities in Mexico may not have the major cities, obviously, yes, they'll have, state-of-the-art equipment. But smaller towns, maybe more resort towns like Huatulco is just meant for tourism, may not have like the highest state-of-the-art equipment. So has that been your experience?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And with COVID, some of it have oxygen, and apparently that's been available here. I think people have been treated. So, and in fact, a friend of ours just had COVID a couple of weeks ago, but she got the treatment here and she's fine. So.
She got the treatment. They came right to her house and tested her when she was sick. The lab actually went to her house and tested her, and then they gave her medication, gave her prescriptions, got everything filled. And 2 weeks later, the lab went back to her house and did a test again. Says, "Oh, you're negative. You're good to go. You're done." So I thought it was kind of cool that the actual lab went straight to her house and did all the testing. She didn't have to go to a crowded area or take a chance on giving it to somebody else. So it was really handy.
Yeah, that's important. How's your friend doing now?
Fine.
She's fine.
Okay. Any idea how they treated her? Just oxygen?
Well,
no, she didn't even need oxygen.
Yeah, she didn't get that bad. They gave her different medications. I don't even know what they were.
I don't know what they were, but there were 3 or 4 different medications that they gave her, and whatever it was worked.
Yeah, she's fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her main thing was they told her to not do anything, to save her strength. A lot of people they walk up and down stairs and then they have no strength to do anything else. So that's what she did. She just stayed there. She needed something that people would like. We might take her prescription to her and set it up by her door and message her and say your prescription's sitting outside the door, and we walk away.
Yeah.
But most people we know here have had the vaccine. Huatulco gives the vaccines. It's been kind of slow, but they've done it here. So.
Yeah. Hi, Lisa and Brian. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you guys have any questions for Paul and Sue, type them in the live chat and we will cover them at some point during the live stream. So, we're talking about healthcare and the availability of healthcare in Huatulco. Huatulco is a very popular place, especially with Canadians, right?
Right.
Why is that in your opinion?
Well, it's a tourist town. It's a place that they have a port for cruise ships to come into, even though there's been no cruise ships for over a year. But they are on the schedule for January, but before cruise ships come in January. It's hard to tell what will happen between now and then. But it's a very big tourist town. We're close to people, I would say people that live in the mountains that make handcraft stuff. And so they bring it down to the mountains like every other Saturday. Today's one of the days. There's a market in town and everything is organic. So it's an organic market. So you go there and you can get fresh fruit. You can get stuff that the people have made themselves from something they've taken out of the ground here. They've taken dirt out of the ground and made clay and they made flower pots. They can sell it there because it's organic.
There's one lady that makes jewelry, and it's called paper beads. And they take a little strip of paper and roll it and I guess glue it or something. And here's one of them. They're just rolled up and it's paper. It's made out of paper, but it's wire and paper. They're beautiful.
The camera so we can see it.
Well, I don't know. It's probably kind of hard to tell, but
Yeah,
anyway, they make different colors and patterns and stuff. So there's all kinds of fun stuff there.
Yeah.
And you asked about why there's so many Canadians. And I think it was because from Canada, there used to be a lot of direct flights and it was easy to get here. And there were some Canadians that came here that became developers. And so they would go back home. And in fact, one guy we know, he was developing a condo complex. And so he went back to the town where he lived and sold almost all of them to people from where he lived, without even starting it, hadn't even started it yet. And so he's on his 3rd or 4th condo complex now because he has connections with Canada. So, word spreads and there's more Canadians here in the winter. There's a lot that come only for the winter months. and then go back home. And it makes renting long-term a little difficult because so many of they can charge more for the winter. So they'll just let it sit empty all summer rather, so they won't lose the winter months. So renting long-term is a little tricky sometimes. You have to have patience and keep looking, but they're out there. Things are out there.
They're out there. It just takes time.
It just takes time.
Yeah, I actually had a member from our audience at one point asked me for help to help him find a rental in Huatulco, and it was very hard. He was willing to pay a deposit up front. He was willing to, but I mean, a lot of companies just kept giving him the runaround. So I kept telling him, the best way you're going to find a rental is by boots on the ground. Like, there's a lot of things that are not listed online.
Yeah.
Well, some friends of ours that rented a place, they'd never even been here at all, so they knew nothing, and they rented online. They contacted someone who introduced them to someone. Anyway, they rented an apartment that it looked nice, and it was in the downtown area, but they didn't know there was a bar across the street, and it's on a very noisy street, and they didn't know all of that until they were there for 2 or 3 days. And so you really have to see. I mean,
we'll be the first to tell people, don't rent until you've been here.
Yeah.
It's just, and people also have to realize it's not like in the United States, you can pick up a book at the grocery store and it says, here's rental property. You're never going to find that here. Most of the rentals that we worked with here is by word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's literally by word of mouth. The real estate agents, they want to sell property, but they don't want to rent property. So the real estate agents are almost very hard to deal with when it comes to renting. So you just put the word out there and you learn, like we learned from one lady. She says, oh, well, I've got 6 people that I know they deal with rentals. We send a message to those 6 people and we get 20 houses that are for rent, anywhere from $300 a month to $3,000 a month. So it depends on what you're interested in.
Wow, $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the places, especially Ocean View, you get Ocean View and the price goes up considerably. But we looked at a place yesterday that, I don't know if you know where La Bucana is. It's a beach, a little bit out of town, but it's beautiful out there. And it was 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It was a little rough, but the owner was good with you doing whatever you want to do, fix it up. And it was $250 a month. And it was literally around the corner from the beach, so.
Yeah, you could walk out the front door and in 2 minutes be standing on the beach. So.
But I bet you it wasn't listed online.
No,
no, it's not listed online. It's all word of mouth.
All word of mouth.
Yeah, so, if you're watching and you're thinking about moving to Mexico and you're getting frustrated because you hear about these great deals, but you're not finding them online, the best deals are always going to be found by either word of mouth or by driving around certain neighborhoods you like and looking for a sign that says "de renta" or "de renta."
And they don't usually put out signs for rental.
Yeah, here they don't even use.
They put out a lot of for sale signs, but very few signs for rental.
Yeah.
So then it's just word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
It mostly is.
I mean, the best thing if someone were coming here would be to come to our. We have a little expat group that meets once a week and start talking to people, and everybody knows somebody who can connect you with somebody, and you just gotta give yourself a little time. And I always, there was another lady that came here, I guess in March, and I was like, don't expect to live the whole time in the first place you choose, because you take something and then you get to know the town a little better. You get to know where you want to go, where you like to be. And, we've lived in several different places. So, things change.
Chris wants to know if a couple can live well on $3,000 USD a month close to the beach in Huatulco.
Close to a beach, yes.
Yes.
Not on the beach, but close to a beach for $3,000, yes, easily.
Another friend of ours they have an apartment in town, and it's kind of in the edge of the business area, so it's quiet where they are. It's a complex. It has a pool, easily walkable to the beach. and they pay, it's unfurnished, but they pay $400 a month. And it's got granite countertops and, nice appliances. And so there's all different prices out there.
How did you guys find your place when you first moved?
Word of mouth.
Yeah, we literally had went to a beach and met some people, and this lady took us into
Crucecita.
La Crucecita, and there's a guy that she knew that we call him a hustler. They walk up and down the road trying to get people to buy blankets or hammocks or something, and we told him he was looking for a place, and in 15 minutes he took us and showed us the place, and we said, no, it's not what we're looking for, and he showed us a second place, and no, again, it's just not what we're looking for. And he says, okay, now that I've shown it to you, I've got an idea what you're looking for. And he went, another guy took us to a place, we fell in love with it, and it took us one day to find our first place there.
Yeah.
But it's just, you got to get out there and you got to talk to people and just go with the flow, really. You just, because you're not going to find anything that's perfect. It's just not going to happen. I mean, we love having an ocean view. Those houses are hard to find.
And that first place did have a little bit of an ocean view, and we were fine with a beautiful apartment, but it was on a really busy street that we didn't anticipate so much traffic. And so much traffic you couldn't hardly talk in the evenings.
Yeah, we like to leave our windows and stuff open because electricity is here kind of expensive. Mm-hmm. So you don't run an air conditioner unless you absolutely have to. But because of that road noise, we had to run an air conditioner all the time. So that was the reason we left our first place. But it's all in what the people make. There's other people that live there that they love it. So.
Yeah. Did you guys end up? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did you guys end up telling that first place that you found through word of mouth? Did you always know that it was going to be month to month? Like, what kind of agreement did you make with that landlord?
We had originally signed a 6-month contract, but then when we spoke to the guy and we told him we'd only been there for 3 months and we just couldn't handle the noise, and we asked him what we needed to pay him to make up the difference, and he was so nice. He says, Paul, he says, don't worry about it. He says,
we lost our deposit. Yeah, we lost our deposit, but that's it.
Yeah.
And your deposit was equal to 1 month's rent?
No, not even that.
It was
okay.
It was like
$500.
Yeah, $500.
Maybe.
And our rent was probably $1,200 at that place. So
that's great for you to be able to get out of your month to your lease 3 months early.
And that's something that we tell people and ask about. What happens if I want to break the contract? Read all the fine print.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are interested in living in Huatulco, for you guys that are watching, and you're interested in getting a local's perspective, and maybe hit the ground running, see some rentals, learn what life in Huatulco really is like from Sue and Paul's perspective. They are one of our recommended private tour guides in our relocation guide. Our relocation guide is a complete course on how to move to Mexico and retire in Mexico. I'm going to add a link to the comments. If you guys are interested in hiring Paul and Sue, you can definitely do so. But to do so, you have to get the Mexico relocation online guide. So I've included a link in the comments if you guys are interested in learning more. If you have questions, feel free to post them on here. So what do you guys do for fun? Tell us about, you mentioned that Mexico is very inclusive, very friendly. You have both expat friends and Mexican friends.
It's easy to go fishing. It's
Okay.
easy to go snorkeling. I mean, there are more fishing boats and snorkel boats here than you can shake a stick at. You can go with a big group of 200 people, or you can go with a group of 5, or you can go with a group of you.
You can snorkel for about $30 a person, and that's
an all day.
Almost all day.
Yeah.
And sometimes lunch is included in it, sometimes not.
And the snorkeling here is great. The water's very clear. You'll see lots of turtles. This is one of the highest populated areas in the world for turtles. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but there's like 19 species of sea turtles. 18 of them are here in Huatulco. So
we see turtles every time we go out, and spinner dolphins.
Spinner dolphins
are awesome.
You're out on a boat and you're going along, and the dolphins just come right up beside the boat and they're jumping in the air.
Awesome.
You look at across, a little ways away from the boat, and you'll see 200 or 300 dolphins in one pod, and they're jumping up in the air and spinning in circles. They're called spinner dolphins. They're here year round.
How awesome!
Whales come in during the winter time. So usually about December, January, February, you see whales here. So there's lots of things to do. I mean, it's all what you make it. I mean, I have friends that go fishing 3 or 4 times a week, and they might just go out on the beach and throw out a rod, or they might get on a boat and go. So
now you guys run a pretty successful expat group, and you guys meet weekly.
Right.
Yes.
We meet every Wednesday at a beach.
Yeah, we have.
What do you guys normally touch on? Like, what kind of things can people learn by going to your meetup?
There's no agenda. We just get together and have a drink and hang out and talk.
Anything people want to talk about, we talk about.
Okay.
If we don't talk about it,
we have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also a way for people to make friends, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's how we've made friends with all the people that we hang out with, pretty much, is either neighbors or people we met through the expat group.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, you mentioned that electricity is pretty expensive in Huatulco. Would you mind sharing what your normal electricity bill runs for, and how often you run your AC?
Okay, so normally we run our AC at this time of year. We run our AC in our bedroom just when we're sleeping. That's it. That's the only time we have any AC on. And so for a month's period, that would probably be around 600 pesos, around $30.
Wow.
So I know it may not sound expensive, but that's one of the most expensive things we have. I mean, our cooking gas, we have gas stove, oven, all that. It runs us, 400 pesos for 6 months.
Water is about 20 pesos. I mean, $20. $20
US dollars.
And internet, I think is $25.
Yeah.
I mean, not here, but the other place we lived, we actually had fiber optics with 200 megabyte speed, and it was $30.
$30 a month.
Yeah. So it's all the things compounded that make the cost of living in Mexico lower.
Right.
Sometimes the rent may be about the same, especially in a resort town like Huatulco. But it's all the other things, like the availability of healthcare, the affordability of healthcare.
But the other thing to remember too is like, like I say, we're retired, so we don't like doing a whole lot of stuff except for going to the beach and go to restaurants and eat. So we even have a lady comes and cleans our house every week. So a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house cost us 250 pesos a week. 350. So about $16, $17 a week to have your house cleaned. Same thing with our laundry.
Every week.
Every week.
Every week, okay, and about $16 every week. Wow.
And same thing with our laundry. I mean, we'll have all of our laundry. So we're 2 people. So all of your clothes, your bed sheets, towels, every week costs us usually less than 200 pesos. That's less than $10 a week.
And you don't have to do it.
Don't have to do it. Don't have to fold them. Don't have to dry them. You just $10 a week and it's done.
Well, and I used to have a housekeeper in the States, but it was only, once every 2 weeks or something like that. But here, I didn't think I needed it. But then I realized you leave your doors and windows open all the time. So things do get dusty, and it really does need to be cleaned once a week. Some people even have them come in twice a week, but we're good with once a week. It's so inexpensive.
Yeah, very inexpensive. $16.
Yeah.
And the thing is to be very honest with you, we've tried to keep the same. We've lived in a couple different places now, and we've actually tried to keep the same housekeeper because she has 2 houses she cleans every week, and that's her sole income, nothing else. Okay, so because we know that, we know how her family living is and stuff, we try to keep that same person and keep them supported a little bit.
And tip well.
And we tip them well.
Yeah, Christmas and things like that on holidays, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're also pretty flexible if maybe her kid is sick and she can't come that day or whatever.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how did you find your house cleaner?
Neighbors.
Okay.
You know, talk to the neighbors and who did they use and did they have, availability?
Yeah, recommendations.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's also not like in the U.S. where you just go online and find like a service and they.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't find a service here anywhere.
Yeah.
Google housekeeper, you would come up with nothing.
Now you two are pretty active, I would say. I know that you like to hang out at the beach a lot, but for anybody that might be thinking about Huatulco, and what would you say is like how walkable would you say Huatulco is for the average, 65 over American?
It depends on where you live. If you're in the center of town, the La Crisacita area, very walkable. When we first moved here, we lived in that area and we walked for everything. The only time we'd take a taxi would be if we walked to the grocery store and had a lot of groceries, then we'd take a taxi back. But that would cost 35 pesos, so that's not expensive. Where we live now is very hilly. I mean, a serious hill to climb. So
Okay.
if you can walk to town, you probably don't want to walk back. It depends on where you live.
But most of the areas here, the sidewalks are okay. I wouldn't we did have a friend that came here for a little while, and she had an electric wheelchair, and it didn't work. It didn't work well. I mean, it didn't. There's a lot of
Go
cracks.
uphill.
Yeah, a lot of hills and a lot of broken sidewalks too. So
Broken sidewalks. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you started to say something and reminded me of something. If people like to surf, this is a big surf area. I mean, there's not. I mean, not far from us. There's surf. There's some nice surfing, but Puerto Escondido is rated the 3rd most popular surfing place in the world, and it's only hour and a half, 2 hours from here.
Yeah. And there's another place the other direction, Barra de la Cruz, where they just had an international surf competition. It's maybe an hour from here.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal for surfers.
Yeah,
to come
surfing
to
here is a
Buceria.
big deal.
So you guys see a lot of surfers come by through town.
Oh,
Yeah. We go to the beach and we watch them. I don't surf. And we watch them. We take pictures. and other things that are fun to do that we do is bird watch. We love. There are hundreds of different kinds of birds here. Let's see if there's other lots of iguanas, different kinds of wildlife here. I mean, one time we kept walking our back door and there was a walking stick. I couldn't in the States, in Texas, we had walking sticks. They were about 6 inches long or so, full grown. No, not here. Walking stick is like a foot, a little bit longer. Okay, and he actually scares you, but once you see what it is, it's pretty cool watching the nature. That's all. It's
Another thing we do here is play golf. There's a magnificent golf course here. It's a little on the pricey side, but it's beautiful. And we were playing last week, and a crocodile crawled out of the pond.
I saw that.
yeah, the
Oh,
crocodile. Yeah, I was in the sand trap with a crocodile. So
We'd heard there was one there, but we'd been golfing for almost a year, and we'd never seen him. First time we'd seen him. So you see a little bit of
So
everything.
great for taking a picture and not running in the opposite direction. Did it
yeah, it
get
was funny.
close?
We even talked to the people at the golf course, and there's a guy that's been there for years, and he said he saw that crocodile like 3 or 4 years ago, and he says it was like maybe a meter long. Now it's 2.5 meters long. So it's been that long since he's seen it. So for 2.5 years, he never saw it anymore, but it's there. You just gotta be careful where you.
Whatever's in the water.
You don't want to swim in the little ponds, okay?
No, no, definitely not. Did it get close to you?
Oh, he was pretty close. Yeah,
He was sitting still. I
I was
had people watching him while I hit my ball.
I was yelling at him to get away.
Like you were like, oh. Yeah, I saw that on your Facebook profile or your Facebook feed, and I was like, oh my god, that was a pretty big one too. It wasn't like a baby one.
If anybody likes golf, I mean, there's no other golf course for hundreds of miles from here, but this one is spectacular.
Yes,
it's one of the hardest, most beautiful golf courses I've ever seen. Very, very well done. And most of the time when we play, we're the only people out there.
Yeah,
Because there's not that many people that play here.
yeah, it's not super busy.
No,
No.
not busy at all.
Now you guys just recently got some puppies.
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. So
We
do you
did.
guys go to the beach? Is that allowed?
No. Most of the beaches in the city, you're not supposed to take dogs. We have found a beach up the road a bit that is kind of away from anything, and we can take them there. But no, the public beaches here, you're not allowed to have dogs.
Yeah. How have you guys found Huatulco to be in terms of pet supplies and food and all that stuff?
Not a problem.
Not a problem. And
Yes.
there's lots of vets here,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of pets here.
Okay.
Everybody has.
A lot of people have dogs here. They're and anywhere from nice huskies to German shepherds to street dogs. Okay,
Yeah.
I have street dogs. I love adopting the street dogs, and they just they're sleeping now. Yeah, they are. They're just puppies right now. So
Yeah, they're little puppies. They're adorable, by the way. They're really
Thanks.
adorable. Good for you. Good for you for taking street dogs, by the way. Lots of them out there.
there are lots of and they're always looking for people like something else that if there are people that come here looking for something to do. There are lots of clinics that they want help sterilizing dogs or sterilizing cats or whatever. There's lots of different projects you can get involved in here.
Yeah, yep. There's so many things that you can get involved in your local area in Mexico. All over Mexico, there's different charities. Now, what about transportation? You guys ended up bringing your car, if I'm not mistaken?
No,
you bought a car. Okay.
yeah, we bought a used car 9 months ago. We only had it for 3 or 4 months, and I'm from Texas. I'm used to having a pickup truck, and it's hard to find used pickup trucks here because they run them in the ground. So I bit the bullet and bought me a new pickup truck. It's just a small,
yeah.
but there are people here to help you do that. You know what I'm saying? And the guy that worked with me, fantastic guy. I mean, the vehicle, it was 3 hours away from where we live at, and they needed a down payment. The guy went and took money out of his pocket and paid the down payment. And then
Wow,
to
really?
pick it up, I had to have insurance. He paid the insurance. Then when I met up with him, I paid him everything. But that's you work with people and build their trust. And I dealt with this guy a couple times, and it's like family. I'm telling you. To this day, the people I purchased vehicles from, they send me emails, say, "Hey, how are you guys doing today? I saw there was an earthquake in your area. It's blah blah blah," and they keep in touch with us. So
It's very close.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Mhm. They take care of one another. Yeah. Somebody's asking, what about an international airport nearby? There is an international airport in town.
Here.
There's an international airport here in Huatulco.
Most
How
of
long
the
is
year, most of the year, American Airlines flies here direct from Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Right
Yeah.
now, they're during the fall they don't, but in the winter they'll start back.
And I believe Canada resumed their services to Huatulco?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And there's a
Yeah.
couple, there's a new one that we didn't know much about until recently.
Viva Aerobus.
Viva Airbus. And a friend of ours just went the other day. He got on the plane in Huatulco, flew to Tijuana, walked into California, did a few things, got his COVID shot,
Okay.
got back on the plane and came back. So, it's like $300. round trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a nice airport.
Yeah.
And again, it's another place. It's so funny. We get tickled because we've been back to the States twice to visit grandchildren and stuff. And you get on a plane and the plane taxis, and when it's leaving, all the people that work at the airport stand outside and they're waving at you.
Really?
I swear. It's very small airport, but everybody's standing outside waving at you as you leave.
That's so nice.
It's funny, but yeah, it's something that sticks in your head. So
Yeah, they're waving you off. That's so nice.
yeah.
So yes, to answer your question, there is an international airport nearby. It has several direct flights to Canada and the U.S.
Right.
So definitely look it out. Do you know by chance what the airport code is?
HUX.
Yeah.
Hux.
HUX airport.
HUX.
Let me put that in the comments so you have access to it. Now, what about when you guys first moved to Mexico? You know, you bought a car, you had a facilitator help you out with registering it, right? Like you mentioned
Yep.
that in the previous video that we did. How did you guys find all those services, first of all? Like, how did you find a facilitator to help you out?
Again, word of mouth.
Word of
A
mouth.
friend of ours that had bought a vehicle, and the people he bought it from used to live in Huatulco, but they have moved since to Salina Cruz, so it's 3 hours away. But they act like it's nothing, and that's great because, like when I first bought my car, my used car, my next door neighbor wanted one also. So the guy tells us, he says, I've got two little SUVs. He says, I'll bring them to you, and if you like them, we'll work out the deal. If you don't like them, he says, all I ask you pay me a little bit for my gas to go back to Salina Cruz. Yeah. What more can you ask for? You know, they brought vehicles to us. And just recently, there is a gentleman, really surprised me. You couldn't buy used cars here in Huatulco, but there's a gentleman that just in the past 2 months has opened up a used car lot here. So I don't know how it's working out for him, but that it is here now. So
Okay, yeah, so it's starting to grow in that respect. Maybe they're seeing the opportunity for all the foreigners coming in.
right.
Yeah. Well, if you guys want more of these tips that Sue and Paul have, and you want to hit the ground running when you move to Huatulco, you can't have a better resource than them. So if you're interested in hiring them as your private tour guide, they are one of our recommended private tour guides in the Mexico Relocation Guide. Again, in the comments, you will find a link to how to access that or how to buy that. So we talked about hiring services like a maid. What about a gardener? Do you guys have any open green areas or?
Most places have a gardener that comes with it. So when you pay the rent for the month, it includes the gardener.
Okay. You don't have to go and look out for one,
No.
or you don't have to find one yourself.
Yeah, usually the gardener and the pool people are included in your rent.
Do you normally like give them lunch or no?
No.
Okay.
No,
They just come in, do their job and-
Yeah.
And they're usually here every day.
Really?
I mean, oh yeah, I mean they find something to do every day.
Yeah.
I mean the place we're living in right now, there's just 12 condos, and so there's enough yard. The guy is here every day, and when on garbage days, he comes up to your house and picks up your garbage and takes your garbage out for you. You know, it's not
you
just
don't even have to take out the garbage.
no. He just comes right, brings the doorbell, and takes your garbage and takes it out front for the garbage man.
You're very spoiled, you guys. It would be very hard to move back to the U.S. and have to do all those things yourself.
Yeah.
It would take some adjustment.
Things I tell our friends too, and this, people that've never been here may understand this. Is one thing I've learned to appreciate here in Mexico, not just Huatulco, but every place that we've been to in Mexico. You go into a restaurant and you sit down. That table's yours. It belongs to you until you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And they will never bring you a bill until you ask for it. And I didn't really realize how much I appreciated that until I went back to the States, and we're sitting in a restaurant, and I'm trying to order another beer, and the girl brings a bill and sets it on the table, and I said, guess she doesn't want me to drink her beer.
Yeah. I guess
That
he
does
doesn't
not
want
happen
me to
here
order
in Mexico.
anymore.
Yeah, that doesn't happen here in Mexico. I mean, your beer's empty, they bring another one. Okay, and you have to ask for a bill. So when you ask for a bill, you're telling them you're finished with that table.
Hmm.
That's one thing I've learned to appreciate here.
What about other things like that? Like just in general, maybe, cultural differences.
A meal, eating out also, we're accustomed to in the States, if you sit down and, you'll have a drink there within 5-10 minutes, and then you'll dinner will be there in another 15 maybe. Here, a meal could last a couple hours because it's not quick. And we that took a little getting used to, but it's like now I don't even think about it. If it takes 2 hours to have our dinner, it's okay. We got nothing else to do. So you just expect and this town has zero fast foods. I mean, the only fast food would be the street taco guy, but there's no Jack in the Box or McDonald's to run through and grab a Big Mac, there's nothing like that. So you just learn to expect it's going to take a while to have a meal. And that's good. I mean, that's a positive thing now.
Yeah, it forces you to slow down a little.
Right.
Yeah.
We're on a different time now.
Yeah, you learn to slow your life down. And I've learned that there's no sense in being in a hurry.
Yeah.
Sun's going to set when the sun sets, and here we go. Did you guys consider?
Chris has a great question. Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Read it out.
Hey, wants to know if we've visited other places. We have visited other places, but we've never seen a place that we would, other than Huatulco, that we want to live at.
And one thing about Huatulco is it's so clean. It's not a typical Mexican town. It was created solely for tourism. So Fonatur has gone out of their way to make this a very clean, groomed town. And so it's so beautiful for one thing. You feel clean, you feel safe, but also we're kind of at a spot where you don't have to worry about hurricanes. I mean, you get the edge of one. We've had the edge of one a couple of times, but they don't really full force hit here. The farther you go north, that becomes an issue, just like Acapulco got hit. No, not Acapulco. Yeah. Just recently. But, that little storm started right here. They start to build out in the sea just off of our coast. And so we get rain off of it. But I think people have talked about maybe a couple of times in recent history, there's been the edge of a hurricane, but you don't get the full force of one. The only thing we have here is an occasional little earthquake. But
the other thing to answer Triss's question there is one thing to us that's an advantage here, and I believe it's because it's a tourist town, is we don't speak Spanish. I mean, we speak a little bit, and we understand more than we speak, okay? And here, every place we go, you find somebody that speaks English. You go to the other towns, Puerto Escondido, there are some English speaking, but nowhere near like here, okay? In fact, we've made the conversations of we'd probably tour around a little more if we spoke a better Spanish than we do today. But that's probably why we haven't visited a whole lot of other towns here, because we know that this is a very high English speaking area.
Well, we did the research too on safe places. We Googled safe cities, and this was one that came at the top of the list of being a safe place to be for expats. So that was a big part of our choice.
Yeah, I think those are all great points. I hope that helps, Tris. Just if you are curious, I would suggest that you visit all those other places too, so you can get your own perspective on.
Yeah, especially if you speak Spanish, and there's a lot of areas. A good friend of ours just went down to Chiapas, which is almost down to Guatemala here, and they say it's beautiful, beautiful area, and they have some beautiful freshwater lakes there, which I've not really seen much of that anywhere where we are. But again, it's very few and far between you find somebody who speaks English there.
Yep. I had that experience when I went to San Cristobal de las Casas. it was very challenging to find somebody who speaks
Yeah.
English. I speak perfect Spanish, so maybe it was unfair, but I was with somebody who did not speak any Spanish at all, and they weren't able to communicate much with many people.
And the nice thing is we do have we met a couple guys here, and they're tour guides, and everybody thinks they're a tour guide, but there's a couple of them that are real tour guides. And the one guy that we've worked with several times, he'll take 10 of us and we'll go to a town that we've never been to before, and he'll take us through the markets. He'll find us a nice place to eat, and any questions you have, he takes care of us, and he does all of our communication for us. And he took us to a chocolate factory the other day. The people at the chocolate factory didn't speak a word of English, but they would tell him, how the process goes, and he would explain to us how the process goes.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's a lot of things you can do to get by. So
yeah, there's a lot of these little concierge services all over the country. Sue, you mentioned that every now and then you get, just a little bit of an earthquake. So tell people who, a lot of people are, Tris says, you guys are awesome, very helpful answer. Muchas gracias, Tris, for watching.
Sí, de nada.
A lot of people don't realize that there are some earthquakes in Mexico, especially on the coastal towns.
The biggest one we've experienced, I think, was a 4.3, and it shook the room, but nothing fell. They're a little scary because you don't know how long it's going to last. But right before we came was when they had a 7.2 last a year ago in June. They had a 7.2 that did some damage, but the place we live now suffered no damage at all. So most of the places that are well built, that are newer, haven't suffered damage. But that is an issue, and I'd never experienced an earthquake before, so it's a little weird.
What does it feel like?
The first time I was sitting on the couch. It was early in the morning. I'd just gotten up, and it's like the dining room table started moving. It was like, wait a minute.
You're like, is it me or is the room shaking?
We've been through several small ones. By several, I mean probably 10 or 15. But we've learned that we can actually hear them before we feel them.
Yeah.
Because we're right beside the ocean.
You hear a little roar.
So you can hear it roaring as it's coming in.
Oh,
so we
how
can hear
interesting.
It's kind of like thunder. You hear a little kind of thunder, and then you feel the shake.
Yeah.
And another thing that people might be interested in that are listening is there is an app called Earthquake. And you can go and look at an area, and it'll show, you can look at the history of how many earthquakes and what magnitude they've been, so on and so forth. And so you can see that in this area, if you look at right where we are, north of us there have been several, south of us there have been several bigger ones, but where we are, it's just a lot of little ones.
Yeah.
But you never know what's going to happen.
That means you guys are further away from the line or the fault of the tectonic plate. Yeah.
Well, and what they say is the more little ones you have, less like you are to have a big one. The little ones relieve the pressure without having to have the big one. So I'm okay with the ones.
Yeah, I know that, near the volcanoes is where you get most of them, like Mexico City, Puebla,
right.
Those areas. But I know in Oaxaca City, or near Oaxaca City, is that where the 7.2 one hit, or was it actually?
It was here. No, it was here.
It was here. Yeah, it went through them. And there was a 7.1 hit just up by Acapulco week before last. But it was very minor damage. There was one fatality. So, a 7.1 to us is pretty big because we've never seen anything that big.
Yeah.
Like about a 4.2 or 4.3 is the biggest we've seen. So,
changing the subject a little bit, I know a lot of people have questions about public transportation. They've heard about these like colectivos or, these buses that pick up people like in the masses and take you in any one direction. Have you guys taken one?
We haven't. We did taxis a lot.
Okay.
And from people I've known who've done the colectivo, sometimes it really is not that much cheaper. And you're jammed in with a bunch of strangers that you don't know, especially with COVID, you don't really want to be in a crowded car with a bunch of people. So most of the places in this town you can go for 35 pesos for a trip. So that's
$1.75.
yeah,
$1.75.
to go most anywhere in town. So it's and a lot of people here have scooters. Even a lot of the expats have scooters or quads, to get around town. But walking is so easy, and it's like I said, this town's not very big, so you can walk all over. We did before we got a car, we just walked everywhere.
Yeah, for several months we walked everywhere. So,
are there any surprises that you guys would like to warn anybody who's thinking about moving to Mexico of like, hey, we made this mistake. Let me save you the hassle.
So I'll tell you a mistake we made recently. Very large mistake.
Expensive.
Okay. Very expensive mistake. So we were looking to upgrade to a bigger,
to a house,
to a house instead of a condo.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to a real estate agency originally, and a real estate agency introduced us to a gentleman. And a gentleman was real nice, showed us the place. We paid him for it. And then the day we're supposed to move in, he says, the house is actually for sale, and a real estate company says you can't move in, so I'm going to find you another place. And so I'm thinking, okay, I've already paid the guy, but he's going to find me another place. So he did find me another place. And then we went to move into that place, and the owner of that place was there, and he says, the guy hasn't given me any money. And the guy shows up and says, oh, well, somebody stole all my money, and so I don't know what to do. He says, let me get back with you tomorrow. And he left town.
Wow.
So
our new rule is you don't give them a dime until you've got a lease.
Yeah. Do you have a lease in your hand?
Keys in your hand.
Yeah.
We just never dreamed. I mean, we've rented 2 or 3 times and we never had a problem, but this guy was a crook and he's gone.
And because
we can do.
And because it's there's the crime rate here is so low that you learn to trust people.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is we weren't the only one. After this happened, all of a sudden on Facebook they hired the same guy to be a contractor. They hired a driver. It was the same guy. And the biggest problem is we can go to the police. We talked to an attorney friend of ours, and the attorney friend says, okay, in order to find this guy, first of all, she says, you can't just go to the police department. You have to hire an attorney to go to the police department. And then you have to know where the guy is. If you don't know where he's at, you're just
wasting your money.
Right. So we just chalk it up as an experience. I mean, it happened. And so I'm just saying that there are some things you really have to be careful.
And there's no renters association or anything like that to protect you against something like that. And, even getting your deposit back. We've heard a lot of stories of people that you don't get your deposit back a lot of the time. We have. We've been lucky so far, that it's been okay. But there's not a lot of recourse if things go wrong, unless you're willing to get an attorney.
Yeah, and then sometimes the attorney is going to be more expensive than the actual deposit.
Exactly.
You may have to part ways.
We've been here for over a year, and if you don't include the guy that ripped us off, we've only known of one physical crime in over a year in this area, and it was just something very minor. A young lady got hurt, and they caught the guy, and it's done. It's just the crime rate is just so low. It's hard to believe, especially when you watch. We watch the news in the mornings. We watch U.S. news here, and you see how many people got shot like yesterday. Okay, I never heard of anybody being shot here.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say that you guys feel safe?
Yeah, very. And somebody pointed this out the other day. We were talking about the advantages of living here, and it's freedom, that you're free from a lot of government involvement. But on the other hand, just like the deal with the guy that took our money, we also don't have any recourse with that. So you got to take care of yourself, but you're also free to do what you want to do. There's not a lot of rules. I mean, like a stop sign. That doesn't mean you have to stop. You know, you just slow down a little bit, make sure nobody's coming. You don't stop. I mean,
Somebody came to visit.
Oh, puppy. Yeah,
but
I
so
agree with those two.
there's a lot of freedom, and you have to learn to just take care of yourself. Don't expect somebody else to come solve all your problems. Take care of yourself, and you have that freedom that you didn't
Not
have
a
before.
mistake. Yeah. What's the puppy's name?
This is Pepper.
Hi, Pepper.
Hi, Pepper.
Oh, you are precious. You are precious. And you're so calm. You're very calm.
Well, she just
Yeah, she just woke up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you though. There are upsides or flip sides, right? Like
Right.
you're not going into a nanny state. You're also not paying the high fees of taxes of having a nanny state.
exactly.
And therefore you have a lot of liberties, but you also may not have a lot of recourses like, preventing these types of crooks from taking your money.
And people also have to realize, I know I keep saying how safe it is, but you also have to realize you can't walk down a street without seeing a police vehicle.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, they're right there. If there was a problem, they're there.
Yeah. So you feel like you're not only safe, but also there's a visibility protection around.
Right.
A lot of visibility.
A lot of visibility.
In fact, Paul got yelled at when we first came because he was walking down the street without a mask, and he got yelled at for not wearing a mask.
They came up on their megaphone and started telling me to put a mask on. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Some people may be wondering, so is Oaxaca open now? I know they closed pretty much like all hotels and stuff for a week.
Everything's back open here.
Everything's back open, but everybody still has to wear a
You
mask.
still have to wear a mask, and I think at 50% capacity, but because of COVID, there's not that many people here right now anyway, so that's not an issue. But no, everything's back open.
Bars, clubs, everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, right now we are yellow. They have the green, yellow, red. And so right now we're yellow. If we go back to red, it's funny. We don't understand some of the rules, but like you can go to the grocery store and you can buy beer from 10 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But after that, you can't buy it. And you can't go to a restaurant and buy it after that time. They lock everything up. But from 10 to 5, you can drink beer, but you can't get it after 5 o'clock.
It's so strange, I know.
They have some strange rules, but you learn to live by it.
And it didn't last long.
Yeah.
That didn't last long.
Yeah, the alcohol sales are back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's some strange rules all over the world. For example, like there was some in Panama, I'm sure you guys heard, where like, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Could go out, but not men.
Right. Well, and somebody in Boquete was saying that you couldn't leave the town. They had the town shut down.
There's a full lockdown, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
They've never got that bad. They've never got that strict here. So.
Yeah.
And it's mostly, you walk into a restaurant today, and when you walk in, they have you step on a little wet pad and then dry your shoes off, and then they squirt your hands with some sanitizer, and they take your temperature every day. Even though, we're back to yellow, they still do that, which is to me, it's a good thing. I mean, if somebody walks into the grocery store and they've got a high temperature, they tell them they have to leave. They're not allowed to go in the store.
Right.
So,
how about children? I know there was like a rule nationwide where children were not allowed in the grocery store with parents. So
yeah, you still can't.
still not allowed.
Still not allowed.
Right.
No.
And that's to I guess prevent the whole family from going to the grocery store.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there was a little while. It was a little while they didn't want even the husband and wife to go in. So
it was only one party.
Walk in. So.
Yeah. Do you guys ever have groceries delivered to your home?
We don't. You can.
Yeah.
The Chedraui grocery store here will deliver, but yeah, we go.
Never had that.
Yeah, we've never done. Well, we've known several people that have.
And there's also a lot of restaurant delivery. There's 2 different companies here that will deliver restaurant food, kind of like Yum.
Okay.
but local companies that they'll deliver.
Yeah. Just independents, like they'll deliver from any restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a pollo chicken place that they'll deliver any place to you. The Domino's Pizza just started delivering.
Yeah.
So
So you've got everything at your fingertips.
Domino's, and that's the only American restaurant, right?
It's the only American
Yeah,
restaurant.
the only American restaurant we have is there's a Domino's in beside the grocery store.
There's a Domino's, there's a AutoZone, and there's a Goodyear.
Oh yeah.
Those are the only American companies. Well, Sherwin-Williams. There's a
Yeah,
Sherwin-Williams store.
Okay. Yeah. There's not like a Walmart or a.
Now
There- if you go to Salina Cruz,
Cruz has
3 hours
Walmart.
away, there is a Walmart and a Sam's Club,
Okay.
but not here.
So that's where somebody could go if they needed to get,
Yes.
you know, some brands.
Yeah.
But actually, the Walmart to me was not wrong. It was not like Walmart.
Very
It was-
Mexicanized.
It was
Yeah.
more like a big Chedraui.
Yeah. Walmart in Mexico has a completely different stock of items than the one in the
Right.
US.
Right. There's so many products you can't buy.
Yeah. Like
They
what?
just like brown sugar.
Okay. But I mean, you can use like piloncillo, right? That's like the equivalent.
I haven't seen it.
No?
What did
Piloncillo
you
is
call
like
it?
the one that comes in a cone. It's like sugar compressed and they sell it in a cone.
Not here.
Not here.
Really? Okay.
And cheddar cheese is any kind of yellow cheese is hard to find. Everything here is white cheese.
Oaxacan cheese.
Yeah. Once in a blue
Yeah,
moon.
Oaxacan cheese.
I love Oaxaca cheese.
Yeah, me too. But
it doesn't-
sometimes you want cheddar cheese. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's impossible to find. What about Amazon? Do you guys ever order things on Amazon?
Once a week.
Okay.
Every
All the
other
time.
day.
Oh, Utah. All the time.
Yes, we order Amazon all the time, and then, and we
how
can.
long does
It doesn't take long. I mean, it's kind of funny because we'll look for something on Amazon US, and you can go to Amazon Mexico and look for the same item and find that it's already here in Mexico and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of shop the two Amazons.
Yeah, that's a good tip. A lot of people don't know. You may have to go to Amazon.com or Amazon.com.mx.
Yeah, that's-
Right. And
And
generally the stuff, it'll say it may take a week, but it usually doesn't.
Yeah.
Usually 3 days. Comes pretty
you can
fast.
buy alcohol. You can buy everything on Amazon.mx.
And apparently we haven't used it, but Costco also delivers.
Okay. All the way to Huatulco?
Yeah. And what's the
Or
Mercado Libre?
Mercado Libre.
Mercado Libre, they
Yeah.
deliver here. So
Except with Mercado Libre, you have to have a Mexican bank account.
Mm-hmm.
A Mexican,
Do you guys have a Mexican bank account now, or have you guys just kept the one in the U.S.?
yeah, we just kept ours in the US.
we,
You
We've
just
always
withdraw
had-
money.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, you just withdraw money from the ATM.
Yeah,
See.
we have a Charles Schwab account, and Charles Schwab refunds all the fees. So we didn't feel like we needed a Mexican bank account.
Yeah. And you just look for the days when maybe the exchange rate is the best and do it on
We
those
don't even
days.
look. We
Yeah,
don't look. We just bank withdraw money that we need and pay our bills.
Yeah.
Done. It's pretty
easy.
simple. Yeah, it's just we pay everything in cash. So
Easy. I have one more question because a lot of people who watch the live streams are single women, and their questions are around safety as a single person. So, without like excluding you too much, Paul, sorry about that, but do you ever go out by yourself? And if you do you
Oh,
feel safe?
yeah, I do. And there are a lot of single women that live here, and a lot of especially American single women. And a lot of it is because their Social Security is not enough really to live in the United States. So they can live well here on their Social Security, and they walk everywhere. And taxis are cheap. So if it's after dark, they take a taxi. But during the day, people are walking everywhere. Yeah, it's totally safe.
There you
yeah, you
go.
remember how I said that we'd go to another beach and I would send out a message? But like 2 weeks ago we went, and it's me and Sue and 3 single women. Okay, so I'm surrounded.
You're outnumbered.
I'm outnumbered, but we take them to some areas, some beaches they've not seen before. That's what we like about having our own vehicle. We get to go to some beaches that a lot of people haven't seen. So
Exactly, and maybe somewhere where a taxi might not want to take you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say that driving in Huatulco or maybe the immediate area around Huatulco is pretty easy? Would you say that, there's a learning curve? Like
there's a learning curve. My words are, you have to learn to drive like a Mexican. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of scooters on the road, and it doesn't matter if they want to make a left-hand turn and they're on the right side of you and you're going straight, they'll go in front of you and make a left-hand turn.
Yeah.
You drive with your head on a swivel.
Yes, you have to really pay attention. So
yeah, you just maybe have to be just patient and not try to
yeah,
just be aware of your surroundings always. You
And when
definitely should be texting and driving.
a lot of the roads when you're driving, we've learned left turn signal doesn't mean they're turning left.
Yeah.
The left turn signal means it's clear for you to pass. It's exactly what they're telling you. You can pass them.
Yeah, that's
They've
funny.
got the left turn signal on, and that's what it means for them. And like
All
Sue said,
other
there's
language.
lots of stop signs that you don't stop at, because if you stop at them, you'll get hit.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah. That's a big tip in driving in Mexico, by the way. Just if I can save you an accident, it's at a stop sign. If there's no traffic directly in front of you, you
Don't.
proceed with caution. You don't stop automatically. Somebody will
Right.
hit you from behind.
Right.
So yeah, it has caused a lot of accidents for a lot of foreigners. I know that.
it's a challenge, but you learn to do it. And not trying to be degrading when I say that. I'm just saying, I've had Mexicans tell me, Paul, you got to learn to drive like a Mexican.
Yeah.
You drive on shoulder so people can drive around you.
Yeah.
Because I don't drive fast anymore.
I'm Mexican. I don't consider that degrading at all. I think it's very true. You have to learn how to drive like the locals do, because otherwise you'll get in accidents.
And
That's right.
they also there's no road rage. Like people don't get angry about it. They just, go around me. I don't care. It just
Yeah.
In fact, the other day a lady said that she was her phone, she was driving and her phone rang and she kind of stopped, because she looked down at her phone, and the guy went, she thought he was mad at her, and he went around her and stopped in front of her. He was checking to see if she was okay.
Oh, that's nice.
He stopped and asked her if she was okay.
He wasn't mad, that she stopped in front of him. He just wanted to see if she was okay. So
Yeah.
it's different. It's so different.
Yeah.
That's definitely more on the beach side. I would say in the cities is probably not the case.
Here, driving laid back. Yeah.
Yeah. Huatulco definitely sounds way more laid back than like Mexico City, for example.
Yeah. And I got a friend that lives right next door to me, and he's from Mexico City, and he goes there quite often. And he says, driving here is completely different than driving in Mexico City.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. And
Yeah.
it's the same rules apply though. In Mexico City, you did not stop at a stop sign.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's about an hour and 18 minutes in. I want to be mindful of your all's time because I'm sure you want to get out and, have your Saturday to yourself. But are there any last words that you would like to share with anybody watching?
Every day is Saturday.
Every day is Saturday. I like that. Any
My
last words for you?
If you're at all interested, just book a vacation for 10 days or 2 weeks or something. Come here and see it and feel it. Feel this town. It's different. It's not like Cancun or Cozumel or some of the busy resort towns. This is a pretty quiet place, and it's so relaxing, and we love it.
Yeah. Well, you guys look tan and rested.
We are.
It's the best way to be. You look happy.
We are happy. Thank you.
That's good. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And I want to thank Paul and Sue so much for spending their Saturday afternoon with us and answering your questions. Again, if you're interested in hiring them as your private relocation tour guide, you can't have a better resource in Huatulco. They know, one, they have a weekly meetup. You'll automatically have friends. Two, they can connect you with all these facilitators, rental companies. They can help you find rentals. They can connect you with which ones are the right medical offices to visit, which ones are not the good ones. And they're just obviously very friendly people, so you'll have a really good time. So if you're interested in hiring them and learning more about their weekly meetups, it's all part of the Mexico Relocation Guide. It's this link that you see at the bottom. But thank you guys. If you guys have any more comments in the future, if you're watching this replay, just go ahead and send them in, and I'll share them with Colin too.
All right. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good
Thank you
day.
guys. Have a
Bye-bye.
great day. Bye.